Okay, so welcome to Discovering Solutions for Fairs and Exhibitions in BC. I'm your host, Chrissy Thompson, and we are on our last month for these sessions. And tonight we are going to be speaking on recycling at your event, completely going green. And so welcome everybody. And if we have somebody pop on, we'll just include them and carry on our way. So tonight we have Yvonne and Anne with us. So if you girls, Yvonne, maybe if you would like to start, how important is recycling at your fair?
It's very important. We we partner with Spa Hills Composting, and we also get a grant from the Regional District of North Okanagan that helps us with the composting effort. We diverted over 11,000 pounds from the landfill last year at our fair.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's excellent. So when you're recycling, what is everything that you're recycling? So you'll do bottles, you said compost. What else do you do? Or is that the two that you main focus?
That's the main focus. So anything that we can divert from the landfill that is compostable. So we have like all the paper products in the bathrooms, like all the paper towels and so on is compostable. As is a number of the different food containers and so on, depending on what they're made out of, are also compostable. So we'll do those. We also do all the recycling of the bottles and so on. So we set up different receptacles in our food court, and we have a separate one in our bathrooms. And we also put signs on all the bathrooms inside all of the stalls, as well as out at the receptacle itself. It's a lot of educating people, because a lot of times they don't know what is compostable. So that's a big part of what it is that we do, is educating people and helping them get it into the right receptacles for us to do.
But I was talking to Chrissy about this before, because I go to a music festival every year, and they do this, and they're very diligent about recycling. But they also have a volunteer group that actually stands beside the bins and explains to people. The signage is there, but they actually just really explain to people what you should be putting this in here and why.
And we do have that. Last year we had the Girl Guides. Before that we had an elementary school. So we have the volunteer groups, and we pay them an honorarium. And they work alongside with our Spa Hills Composting.
Good.
That's excellent.
That's what I want to hear, because our fair doesn't do enough, and oh my gosh, it's embarrassing,
maybe go through just what Alberni District Fair does do, and then we'll talk about what
we just have our regular garbage, and then we have our recyclable bottles, and we do have a group that collects those, but we're just not doing anything else other than encouraging our food vendors to use the proper disposable compostable containers. But we haven't actually gone any further than this. So
we also provide all of our food vendors with compostable garbage cans and stuff that we have the liners in it. And then what our volunteer teams do is they go out and they will empty it for them all day long. So can you imagine the lemonade stand, how many lemonades they go through, the coffee grounds that we get from there, all that's compostable. So we will pick up all of that. We also do that in conjunction with West Coast Amusements. They work with us on it as well. We provide them with the caddies, we call them caddies. And then we also work with the Army Cadets, who does all of our garbage and bottle refunds. And then we also do all of the cardboard as well. That's also
our cardboard is we do our cardboard, but it's still not enough.
No, that's great. So Yvonne, you said you do education. So what part of educating the public do you bring into part of either a display and or both, I guess? So around the garbage cans, etc.
So it's a combination of. So we do the signage that's going to be around all of the different garbage cans, as well as the volunteers, because they are there and they will help people to tell them where they need to put everything. And then so we lead by example as well, by showing people. We're going to be adding some different colored ones, you know, for the colors for the recyclables in that, so that also will tell them, and the signage will be there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the colored's really important. That different colors really are really, you know, you really people
It's just
grasp that.
designated. Yeah, colors will represent a certain one. So what are the colors that you use? So you would use blue is usually the recycled bottles, I'm assuming, right?
That's right.
Blue for bottles.
Blue, green,
Blue,
and
green,
yellow.
yeah,
And yellow.
yeah. What I would say too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was actually, I was telling Anna, I was looking online and there was how to do big events with zero waste. And they actually removed the garbage cans completely. And so that all vendors are not allowed to have any plastic. So it's all paper. And so they scrape their food and it's all educated throughout. So it's a lot of reading. I will actually send that to everybody. Just let me see here.
Great.
Because it was actually quite interesting how that kind of came about and what you can do with it. And it's just for big events. So yeah, it was quite interesting. And even if you were to Google, what like zero waste for large events, it's amazing. And they have a breakdown of how and what happens in the grounds, and you see it, and there's no garbage cans on the grounds whatsoever, but there's tons of recycling within the color scheme and everything. So it's actually quite interesting.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah. I'm really pleased to hear that what you're doing, Yvonne, because I'm preaching to my group and I've never got through to them. So maybe this this helps.
Well, I think now too, and especially British Columbia, the more that I start to travel across the province and North America, I realize just how BC is one of the top leading for being green. I will go to events. I was actually at an event in LA, and I'm just like, oh, where's the recycle bin? And they're like, a recycle bin? What do you mean? I'm like, well, for my glass bottle. And they're just like, oh, we don't have a recycle bin, it just goes in the garbage. And so we are so much ahead of the game as to how we play, and still, like, you know, even Alberta District Fair, there's our lack of really coming and playing a big part in everything else. And so I think education is part of so much of part of creating that space for people, because we have to lead by example. Each and every fair that's in British Columbia, lead by example, and then everybody else will start doing it as well. You know, it's
yeah. I just was going to say, you said that your regional district is partnering with you to do this, and you got a grant through them.
Yes. They've given us, this year, they've given us $3,000. 2 years ago, it was $6,700. So I guess it depends on how much funding they have available. And, you know, and they want to continue to support us, and they see us as a platform of really encouraging everyone to recycle and divert. So that's why they given it to us again.
Yeah, I think because, I mean, you're drawing for such a huge crowd of people that what better medium to be promoting this. So.
Yeah.
So Yvonne, do you have a user group then that goes around and collects compost from all the vendors?
Yes. So we had the Girl Guides last year. So it's that volunteer group that they've got, we've got them scheduled 3 or 4 different shifts per day, and they go out and they collect the caddies from the vendors and empty it for them, and then bring it back to them. So that happens all day long throughout the whole time.
And do they just, are these caddies, are they put in the back of a golf cart, or are they on wheels?
Yeah, they're the small ones are put in the back of a golf cart. We do have some large caddies that we do roll. then we roll those and dump them into the large
At
bins.
dumpsters, whatever
Right.
is designated to be. Yeah. Okay.
Well, even it's interesting because I think partnering with the ACRD or the, which would the ACRD stand for, and
Well, that's for Alberni, but regional district, but it would be different in.
it'd be the agricultural,
So.
they are a big
the same
part of our
concept.
fair, yeah, and so they're, right. So they're part of our fair, and so what came to mind when you said that is just having a display on, that's another educational purpose of how to create compost. It might be different in city limits because of wild animals coming in and raccoons and pests, how to recycle, but there are different recycle bins for city limits that you can still utilize within the space. And just to educate even on that side of things, as you said, the Girl Guides are doing that, and part of it can be shown as what happens in recycle and different stages of recycle as well. So that's actually that's interesting. I really like that. I really like that.
I know in the Alberni Valley, we're really slow to jump on the bandwagon because we're not doing compostables yet. So, but they're darn near ready to start. So it might be a good opportunity promoting. So,
well, I really like how you're sponsored by, in the recycle side. We have two companies that are recycle companies here that we might be able to utilize for getting more promotion around that to help fund what we need to do on that. So that's actually really great. As with any other fair, with their regional district, their any of their recycle. Because you said you have a recycle company who partners with you or sponsors.
Yes, yeah, it's we partner with them at Spa Hills Composting.
Right. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So how do you find the public engaging? Like that's one of the things that, a lot of times.
It works out really well.
Yeah, go ahead. So what do you notice, I guess, is more of a question.
Well, I noticed that they like it that we are being responsible and helping them also to be responsible to recycle. And it also teaches their kids, their family, when they're there, how to and what to recycle and so on. So I think it's very favorable in the marketplace, and they really appreciate the efforts that we go into to get this done.
Right. And so where there's a garbage can, you have all the recycle bins at every single garbage can. There's no option just to not have a garbage or a recycle option.
We haven't had it that way in the past, but that is the plan this year, because every year we have more money, we can expand it.
Right. Okay. That's excellent. And do you have anything to ways for public to recycle at the events, like just how to engage? Because I know we don't have the person standing beside the garbage can or recycle bin saying, hey, that's, plastic goes in here, and just, having that warm smiley face to remind people to be mindful. So a lot of times we have the girls or the user group have a little garbage picker uppers and picking cans out of the garbage to put them back into the recycle bin. Can't catch them all, but that is part of their due diligence on that side of things. So you're obviously not.
I was wondering about Yvonne, if you've thought about doing a
which story?
Sorry, Chris. I was wondering about doing a content, we have for our garbage, we just use big oil barrels that are been painted this god awful red and that are desperately needs painting again. But I was thinking about doing some kind of a contest where we're having people or families come and ahead of the fair and doing painting on them, having with a recyclable theme. And I was wondering if maybe something like that would work, but
So are you
I-
talking about for the garbage cans or?
Yeah,
for
you know, the
recycle
fair
bins?
would paint them. The fair would paint them a basic color, like a basic white, and then offer, you know, them people to come and paint on them. Maybe give out some prizes and just make kind of decorate them up a bit.
Mhm. I'll actually share something with you all because I think this is interesting. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Recycling Council of British Columbia. And I found that this was one of the websites that I found today that was really interesting because it has an app on it for iPhones and Androids at this time. But it basically allows you to know where all your recycling places are. And it even has, I would even think, I wouldn't be able to know where to go, but I did find all the places, like even it has the regional district and for our recycle plant and our garbage dump. But it's all the information of everything that you need to know throughout British Columbia. So if you're traveling or anything else like that, it'll give you some information here. What are you recycling? What's the specific item? And it gives you the information as well. So I found that really useful. Just if there was going to be some type of educational display on what types of as well as this one here was Recycle BC, and it's the same kind of thing. It gives you tons of information on this kind of thing. But can you see my second page? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So this one I thought was really interesting, and these were visual displays, and this kind of came down to the educational purpose, and it's just, of course, having posters, not allowing any of the vendors to have plastic bags, have paper bags, and or reusable grocery bags. I know that we're doing a grocery, like a fun little grocery game this year with the regional district. So we're going to have grocery bags that they can be reused. But this was actually really interesting that I found to be fun, where we can add something into our either just as an add-on, because sometimes we do at our fair, we've done, if you bring a sunflower, you can get into the fair for free on Thursdays or whichever. So this way, you can decorate our fairground by creating some type of item from recyclable goods, you know, like, and have a contest in that way where somebody gets into the fair for free if they bring a recycled item. In the same sense, you still have to get rid of the recycled item unless they have to come and pick them up, right? And so it's just that those are some of the things just to kind of emphasize on the power of recycling and what can be used, or you know, you can use innovative ideas for recycling. There was tons of people making planters. I was looking for fun ways to use recyclable items. So people were making planters. People were using eggshells for starting seeds in the garden, egg cartons for starting seeds in the garden that will compost down into the garden, like just different things that people come up with, and just see. That was just something that I thought was interesting, and I thought I'd share. But this one here, the again, it's Recycling Council of British Columbia.
I'm gonna look up that.
What's that, sorry, Ann?
I'm going to check that out. So.
Yeah, and it it basically goes what we do. It has instead of like an encyclopedia, it's a recyclopedia. Here's the Road to Zero Waste school program, but there's a lot of different other opportunities that you can create and learn through what zero waste is through this. It just, I mean, there's so much information. There's no point in going through it all, but it really is powerful. And if you Google zero to waste recycling, there is, and you actually add large events afterwards, it just goes crazy with the amount of information that comes in to play.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that.
Yeah, and especially the app. And I mean, of course, both are. I'm not sure they're nonprofit, but the one that we were just on with the app that one has programs for nonprofit organizations as well, and for memberships. And I'm not exactly sure on what the membership did. I tried to get somebody from either one of those companies to pop on, but everybody's on holidays for some reason in summertime.
Lucky them.
Yes, exactly. So Anne, do you want to go through what you were talking about with that program that you had said?
Oh, about the BIBC?
No, not the BIBC. You said there was a recycle program that you were talking in depth about. Now, it wasn't.
Oh no, it was just similar to what Yvonne, they're doing at their fair, and I just thought that would be. I think that's the way fairs need to be going. And obviously, Yvonne, you've described what you do, and that's excellent, and that's what I would like to see our fair and other fairs be doing. So,
yeah.
So, what are some improvements? I guess because when you are on a lower budget, like some fairs are a smaller fair, and so maybe let's brainstorm on what are some some less expensive ways to create a recycle program.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have a compost company to partner with, and you're doing it solely you're on your own as far as a fair, I guess one of the biggest things is you need to buy the compostable bags are going to be some of the expense that you're going to have to put out for, because you're going to want to put your garbage into those compostable bags that would go to, you'd have to transport everything to the location of where you can take the composters to. Or if someone on your fair has got a farm that they allow you to take all the compostables to your farm, then they can turn it out there and they'll just turn over the dirt with it.
Right. One thing that came to me too is getting a user group to come in. If you can't afford to get people to do what you said, like go pick up the compostable and the caddy, etc. One way is to allow the user group to do that job as well as grab all the bottles and the recyclable money valued bottles and use that as payment. That could be an option. So they take the bottles into the recycle place and plant, and then they refund the money to themselves, and then that would be their payment. Might not be much, but it's something that would contribute to the community.
That's right. Giving back into the environment and so on.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas, Anne, on that? Because there's budget rent a car. They always have boxes, and in my head, if you didn't have the bins, they always have those big, huge moving boxes. That might be an option to ask anybody that's in budget to donate a bunch of boxes that might be able to be used for recycling, etc., and compost and holders. If you didn't have the actual containers to comply.
Well, this has given me food for thought to try to come up with some ideas. I think I actually will go approach our regional district first and talk to them.
Right.
See what their thoughts are behind it. And I assume that's what you did, Yvonne. You approached them first before you jumped in on this?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I wonder too if any of the, for example, we have some landfill individuals or people who actually do proper composting. Like not just the recycle side of things on boxes and plastics and everything else, but the actual, we have a company in the Alberni Valley, Earthland and Sea, and I know that I can't think of other composting. I think McCoy Lake Excavating is another one, but there's a lot of different companies that might be able to jump on board too with sponsoring and or just community helping the community on that aspect of things as well.
Yeah. Like this is a picture of one of the caddies.
Yep, there it is. Yep. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
That's one of the larger ones, and there is some smaller ones.
Right. Okay. And so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I understand what you're talking about then.
I was thinking like, I don't know what I was thinking actually.
Well,
That's not what I was
we have
thinking.
some
Thank you for showing.
we have some blue bins that look like that we
Right.
use. So
Well, yeah, it's interesting. So the kids they just roll those, or they actually put those up onto the back of a golf cart and then take them and empty them?
Those ones are rolled.
Yeah.
And we've got a rampway that bring them up on to dump them into the bins. And then there's smaller handheld caddies that are smaller that the kids can carry
Right.
and put into the back of a golf cart and transport.
I see. Okay, I see. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And do you have any other questions or comments or just
no,
anything?
I'm I'm excited to actually bring this up to my board on Thursday and then maybe move forward a little bit. And if we have to do it a little slower than faster, then that's okay too. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's little steps and little implementations of how things go, and even so much as finding out if our bracelets that we put on people when they come to the gates, are they recyclable? Are we using styrofoam or plastic plates in the concessions? Do we put out a message?
Well,
do we use paper only? Do we eliminate straws?
I think
the straw thing might be a huge thing this year, but it states on our contracts that they should be using compostable paper plates. So.
Right.
We do ask for that too, but sometimes these vendors come to our fair and they bring the styrofoam with them, even when you ask them not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel for the food vendor too, because I know they're traveling around and often going, and it's the least expensive for them to buy. So that's why they buy it, which is still not helping us, but I understand why they do it.
Right. Right.
But this year for straws, for instance, like with, I'm not sure what they're doing with the lemonade, the lemonade guy with his plastic, but is it it's not, I don't think it's compostable. So,
no, those are plastic.
How are they complying, or even, are they even thinking of complying? So,
one of the things you mentioned, Anne, was about the water bottles. That's the thing that you were speaking of.
Oh, the water bottles. This music festival I go to, Yvonne, as well as a recycling program, they do not have any of their vendors sell plastic water bottles. You have to bring your own in, or you purchase one from one of their vendor stalls, and then they have a group that go around with the bigger jugs of water that have just been filled up at a tap and put on in wagons, and they go with the pumps on the top, and they go around, and people just come up to them and get their water filled.
Right.
It's just a free service.
Yeah, so that's difficult for us because we have a contract with Coca-Cola. And so they provide the bottled water. Now, Coca-Cola is allowing us, and this will be the first year for us, and I haven't finished putting this together, but we are going to be able to also put water bottle stations. So if people bring their own water bottle, they can refill it. But if they wish to buy, all of the food vendors will have water bottles to sell.
Yeah, it'll just be the Coca-Cola.
Well, and that's part of the small implementations that we can put into our fair, and that's one step towards what Anne's speaking about, in my opinion. Like that's actually a really nice, beautiful step in order to get to where we kind of want to get to.
Yes.
Yeah, you're starting, but and perhaps we might have to do that same thing this year, just have different stations. But that's a step.
Yes.
So one thing that came to me just from a health and safety point of view is where the water comes from in those stations. Now, are the water going to be tested so that it is, I mean, if it's in the city and it's city water, that's a different situation, but still it comes to a point of people feeling like it, you know, if somebody gets sick, it's just like, oh, they had water. So it just kind of your due diligence
Yeah,
on doing
you have to
water
watch
testing.
that, but it's
Yeah.
usually very diligent about how they get where they get it. So
our water is going to be coming from H2O for You. It's a water company. They do all of our ice and stuff for our fair, and they're going to provide the water.
Right. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just like I watched this program yesterday, and it's like, don't let your kid drink out of a water hose. And I'm like, what farm kid has never drank out of a water hose?
I know.
You know? It's like, that's just what you do. And I'm sure it was laying beside a pile of crap too, that you just pick it up, wash it off, and just keep drinking. Like, every
Exactly.
farm kid has drink out of a dirty hose. That's why you never get sick. That's a different story though. But yeah, so
farm and fair kids, hey?
Yeah, exactly. So is there, if you could say one thing that's really served you powerfully, Yvonne, on doing these recycling process and practice at your fair, for any fair that's thinking about it or hasn't quite got it together, like Alberni, what would be a message that you'd like to send to people?
Well, I think the message I would send is that fairs are a platform for the community, and we have to set an example. So working together with a service group and a composting company will help you pull it all together, and seeing if your regional district has a grant you can apply for.
Right, grants are beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you going forward and being excited about implementing, how can you bring it back to your fair board for them to kind of feel that excitement that you have as well?
Yeah, well, definitely I've already encouraged them all to listen to the playback. And now that, you know, we have firsthand experience that one fair is doing it already. So let's, and probably more, we just don't know. It's just nothing positive moving forward.
Right.
We're going to implement this.
That's excellent. So Yvonne, because you you are on this call, and I'm sure lots of people might have questions, are you open to receiving emails?
Yes, absolutely.
Emails would that be the best mode of communication for you?
Yeah, email's the best. Unless they're in a real panic situation, go ahead and call me, but email's probably the best.
And so what fair are you from, just for anybody who's watching?
Interior Provincial Exhibition in Armstrong.
Okay. And so you can find your email on BC Fair's website and all the contact information on BC Fair's website. So I appreciate all your input. And before we go, and you have an announcement from BC Fairs?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do a plug for the By BC promotional program. I don't know, Yvonne, if IPE is going to participate this year, but I'm hoping that we're going to get a few more fairs doing so. It's open to 15 fairs, and so far we have Maple Ridge, Cobble Hill, Alberni, and Summerland that have sent in a description of what their display is going to be about. We're open to, if we get more than 15, that would be great. We'll go back to the Ministry of Agriculture to get a little bit more funding topped up. But I'm excited about it. We've got a pretty fantastic little display going in. And I don't think it's really too difficult to come up with ideas. All the fairs that participated last year, you can just enhance on what you already did, with maybe not so much social media involvement. But the deadline is June the 24th, so I'm hoping that we're going to get a few more in the next few days. So.
Does it say how it's going to be judged, or if it's going to be judged, or is it just a promotional?
It'll be judged on the presentation with pictures and the story behind it. So
Okay.
And there'll be a little bit of social media involved, but Alison Markin will be from All She Wrote and
Yeah.
friend
Well,
of
and I think
BC
it's
Fairs.
still,
She'll be overseeing. Go ahead.
well, I just think, I still think it's important to promote in the sense of, for each fair to be
Yes.
recognized, to know who's doing it as well, and then
Oh yeah.
more
Yeah.
people see the platform of that.
I mean, there definitely will be a social media aspect to it, but it's just not going to be. You're not going to be asking the public to,
Oh, right.
hashtags, etc.
Right.
So
yeah, it would be hashtag by BC. I do know that from last year. So it's hashtag by BC, hashtag your fair, and BC Fairs is also asking that you hashtag BC Fairs in all
Yes.
posts that you do throughout your fair, so that they can repost. I know that Allison's been reposting as well, and yeah. So and then by BC, we'll be able to see exactly what's happening with your fair and what the promotions are. Yeah.
I think that this is a step forward for us to be working with the Ministry of Agriculture and building relationships again. So I'm hoping more fairs are going to participate. So
we'll get her drinking out of a water hose.
Yeah.
She'll do it. She's a fun girl.
That'll do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, you two, for joining us. And this is the last session until we join together. I'll be doing, I'm assuming, some type of report at BC Fairs to kind of join this all together and see what happens for next year.
See what happens from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody's input, and we'll go through that. So thank you, and take care, and good luck with your fairs and exhibitions this year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dawn, for all your input.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Night.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.